Hello everyone, Zeldarinth here, and for today's video on Uma Musume, I thought we'd talk a little bit about team trials and how you can easily use the independent training to rebuild your team trials Umas, so you don't have to waste a lot of time trying to min-max them unless you're like a really big tryhard who wants to get into the top rankings. As one thing we are starting to see, especially some of the people even in the top rankings, is that you can actually use independent training to build your team trials Umas. One of the biggest things for it being that you can get a lot more skill points, and you can utilize those skill points to take a lot more skills that ultimately will give you a lot of points in team trials. And so with that, we'll just take a quick look to kind of showcase one of the Umas I built. And kind of the thought process around the Uma. Now, I haven't done a lot of it yet since I haven't really needed to upgrade yet. This week, I got over 1 million points in the team trials. And one of the reasons being is the slight improvements that I've made over the course of the last week or so. I haven't done a lot, but what I plan to do to really start improving them and replacing them over time is using this independent training. This might be something you could even potentially do as we move through scenarios. This may get a little bit weaker over time as we start getting better scenarios that can give even crazier amounts of skill points compared to what independent training does. But for now, it seems to be working fairly well from what I'm seeing, especially if you have a lot of the cards that we're going to look at here. So I have my Copano Ricky here that I built for team trials. As you can see, she is nothing crazy. Her stats are not that great. She's only an SS, although she is usually one of the top in terms of providing points, just because she has so many skills that are all mostly decently able to be added. You have like Rushing Gale, not really all that useful in terms of winning, but worth a lot of points. You have Concentration in here. Of course, we have the ones she has built in. We got Unstoppable, got I Want to Win With You, which is the scenario one. Her Green, of course. Chance of Victory, Nothing Ventured, See You Later. You can probably already tell by the golds what the deck looks like. And so if we just go right over to here, this is the funny thing with what we call this deck is basically the harem deck. It's not the full harem deck, but it is a harem deck in the sense that you're bringing a lot of group cards. As you know, one of the things, as I've talked a little bit about with the independent training, is it does cheat when it comes to bringing in PAL cards or group cards, in that it always finishes all of their chains and their dates, regardless if there's enough turns to do it. And so how I was able to build her in the way that I did was I went with pretty much every PAL card I had, outside of, I did not bring whatever her name is, Aoi, the SR, because the SRs don't give golds, so that's a little bit less value there. I also wanted to make sure I had at least some speed, so I did bring my Agnes Tachyon speed. Very good because she has skill point bonus 2 to give a lot of skill points to buy more skills. But as you can see here, I didn't have Throne, borrowed Throne. A lot of people probably have copies of Tazuna. Tazuna is really, really good with independent training. Now, she is a 50-50 on concentration, so you don't always get concentration on her when you do independent training, but a good chunk of the time you will. Very easy skill. Will always activate as long as you pass the wit check. Light Hello gives playtimes over. Very good, very consistent gold skill as well. Rico gives Rushing Gale. Not all that good of a skill, but very consistent. It should activate as long as you pass the wit check, and there's a great way for it to activate. And then Sasami, hers is more of a, depending on the length. Now, sadly, one thing that I did take her skill on here with, this is for Dirt and Mile, and hers does backfire sometimes on her in terms of positioning, because it is Nothing Ventured is a, it can debuff your stamina quite a bit. But ultimately, even when she loses, because of all the skills she activates, she still gets a lot of points. Agnes Tachyon, of course, also giving, I believe that one's Unstoppable here. Pay Station, somehow that one finished luckily for me on this. So I got a crap ton of golds, and all the PAL cards giving out a crap ton of skill points. I was able to buy a ton of whites alongside her, and she is doing really well. Now, this is one of my examples. I'm not a super whale in that sense. As you can see, my Rico's only Limit Break 1. I'm using Limit Break 0 Sasami. Probably could have brought a better card than her. You can replace her with whatever. Something that just works to whatever you're building. Maybe if you want a little bit more stamina, you can bring in the stamina card to top that up so that they can survive whatever the mode is. Because you can bring like your Super Creek, your Tamamo Crosses, or whatever to do that. But just fitting in some more PAL cards or group cards just makes it where the independent training overall is better. And one of the things you'll learn if you're doing it this way is you don't have to be like winning all of your runs, and you need to win 3 of them if you want to get the bonus points. And you can build one specific Uma that's very strong, that's capable of doing that, while these ones would be more like point generators. And not just using mine, we're going to take a look at one more to kind of showcase how others are doing it, because mine was just something I threw together really quickly. But as you can see, I got over 1,000,000 points, and she's one of the newest Umas that I built. A couple others that are doing quite well that were manual runs as well. Manual will still be the way to build the strongest, as you'll see in the ranking. The tippity top people are still building them manually. A lot of these are, like, they're pretty much all UFs. Like, they just got high rolls with their god tier. Their whale decks, because the team trial decks are way, not completely. I mean, some of these decks are things I'm able to pull off. Like, I have all of these cards and could literally do the same exact deck. But it will take more time. You have to have the chains finish to get the golds, take all the golds. If you can look here, I'm going to guess they have a bulk of them on here. Yeah, I mean, and then also a ton of skill points to get a lot of other skills. Making them very good. And then I think it's 1800. So this was a Unity build, which still, if you're going to manually do them, Unity Cup is better just because of all the witch you can stockpile on. But if you look for the lazy, because I hate doing team trial runs, and the decks generally kind of suck for them in a lot of cases. The person who's currently in 50th is lazy, in the sense that basically most of theirs are pal card or harem deck runs. Now, they have a better one than mine overall. As you can see, they're like all UG, so they were high roll independent trainings, but they were independent trainings nonetheless. But as you can see here, we have Throne for the mediums, easy. Throne's an easy borrow. You get a gold medium. Playtime's over, Rushing Gale, Concentration, and then they're bringing the speed cards to ultimately give some speed here. I mean, and their entire setup is basically like this. Basically, that's their main 4 cards, and then they flex in whatever they might need for whatever it is. Their Kopano Riki here, same thing. I basically had the same deck outside of... I brought Sasami for hers instead. Might have been better off to bring something like this, but as you can see, they're also a whale. They do have, like, Taiki Shuttle maxed out. They have all the PAL cards maxed out. That might not be the same scenario you are in, but you got to think. They're doing it with their whale deck and getting to 50th. You can do it with your less whale deck. Maybe you'll, like me, limit break 1 on Rico. Maybe you have a low limit break to Zuna. It's not going to matter, because with enough runs, you can eventually fill out your roster with an entire set of Umas that have all been run with this kind of deck. And you will be able to, and should be able to, easily keep yourself in Class 6. Now, if you're brand new, or maybe you're somebody that's a lot weaker on the support card side of things, this can still be used to kind of bounce yourself back and forth. I know some people are kind of stuck in that back and forth between Class and 6. If you're weaker on the support card side of things, it should easily be able to keep you at least in that position. And the thing with it is, what makes it really nice is you're not doing the runs. It's the auto that's doing it. So that way you can focus your time on building your aces. Because I know a lot of people are absolutely hating Grand Live. You're spamming runs trying to build aces. And you don't want to be spending a lot of time wasting them to try and improve your Team Trials Uma to maintain either Class 6 or wherever, Class 5. You don't want to fall back. And so this auto independent training has been working really well for that. And like I was saying, this is something that should be able to continue going into the future. We will eventually have the Goddess card, which will be very good, because that one has a generic gold that's used, I think, on most. I think it's a mild medium skill. I can't remember. It might be just a generic can use anywhere skill. And that's an easy, just throw it in there. You'll get 400 plus skill points off that card alone, plus all the skills it gives. That one gives Uma Stand. And yeah, this should be a way to kind of maintain this for a long while. Eventually, they will add in new ranks. You will be able to go over SS into like UG, and it can keep going up here. And then eventually, I believe, kind of looking at independent training and kind of comparing it to how many skill points they get in JP now. Eventually, you'll need to start manualing them. But for the time being, at least for probably the next few scenarios, this should be an easy way to not have to actively work on the Team Trials Umas, and you can just focus on aces. Now, it does take time with auto train, and you're using it for building your parents, but it is a big time saver, and that's my plan, to kind of do it from this point forward, at least until it's struggling to help me maintain Class 6. But as you can see, I'm having no problem maintaining. You build some of them with auto, and of course you can also throw in the ones you build, your aces. Aces built in Grand Life with all this stuff are doing quite well as well. But that is just a quick video I wanted to make on how you can overall improve your Team Trial Umas without having to put a lot of effort into it. And yeah, that'll be pretty much it for now. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.